we want to talk about human rights. Human rights is right here. Let's talk about the neighborhoods that people don't go into, the things that they don't talk about that are happening right in front of them.
I'm Melissa Lee. I'm the Community Director of Hair Hub Sorrento Valley, and today I've invited Tasha Williamson to meet with me and chat about Human Rights Day. So Tasha, welcome. You're also a Hair Hub member, and I was excited to learn that you're doing activism and you're a community leader, and you've got some great things going on. So let me give you the floor. You want to introduce yourself?
Awesome. My name is Tasha Williamson. I just started a new nonprofit called Exhaling Injustice. We fight for everyday people that are experiencing injustices across the county of San Diego, supporting them in every way possible to ensure that their humanity is intact as they survive the injustices that we see so many times across the world. I've learned a lot since I'm a new member. I'm like a baby. So
you're one of the newest.
Yeah, so it's been really eye-opening. A great experience. I'm so thankful for Hair Hub and glad to see so many positive, inspiring women in this work. Just business owners. It's given me new life.
That's incredible. Yeah. We are happy to have you because you're doing incredible work as well. And we want to try to lift you up and support you and give more voice to the work that you're doing. You also co-founded the San Diego Compassion Project.
Yes.
What's that about?
Project is still going on. It's actually 100% volunteer program. And we don't actually collect any funding for like employees or anything like that. All of the money that we've ever received has gone to the families who have lost loved ones to violence. So this is a mobile response team of community members who respond to homicides across the county in San Diego to ensure that families know that they are not alone. So we help them with resources and supports and navigating systems. We help them even in the court process as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to ask, what kind of resources have you guys discovered are most vital in that time for these types of people?
So yeah, oftentimes we respond to scenes. Some of those scenes are at homes. Some of those scenes are, in different places in cars. And so we have been able to network with other nonprofits through this work and make sure that the resources are provided so that they can have cleanup, they can have damage repairs for any damages. We help them advocate and navigate through victims assistance application process. So those are some of the things that we've been able to do. We've been able to purchase food for them because oftentimes people tend to think that, people go about their daily lives after they've lost a child or a husband or a father or whatever. We've been able to bring cooked food so that the family doesn't have to worry about like cooking. Sometimes often the parents, when they lose a child, they forget those natural instincts of caring for a family. Moms, we forget that we were the CEOs. And sometimes we find that it's often hard for them to climb out of bed just to start their day when they've lost a child. And we help them to even go to the cemetery, to go to take care of the business at the mortuary. We help them, through the entire process of a homicide, and then even through the court process. We used to have annual dinners around this time because families were often isolated sometimes, and they kind of felt the Christmas and Thanksgiving time magnified missing that person that they loved. So we brought all those families together. It was over 350 families that we brought together in a huge space. We were able to provide them with meals, and we had events and singing and dancing. So for that brief moment, we also had gifts that we provided to the children, which were siblings. And for that brief moment, they were able to experience the joys of life and living and being okay to be happy, right? And then, we have other organizations who walk alongside us through all of this, that provide grief support groups and those things. So we kind of started that process with Compassion Project in 2008, and we have other organizations that kind of took on, the mental health aspect and be meaningful in this work. And so we do a lot of the work with UPAC, ACE, Alliance for Community Empowerment. They have really taken on a huge role of heavy lifting, of making sure that these families are have someone that is contacting them, all the time, and making sure that, do you have any needs that aren't met? We have HHSA, which is Health and Human Service Agency, that helps us to make sure that a lot of those needs are met.
One of the things that's really resonating with these stories that you're sharing and the resources that you and these collections of other agencies are also able to provide is they're staying connected or reconnecting, because it's not just one tragedy that's happening. It can be tragedy on top of tragedy, and left alone, those things will continue to happen. And so it's like community triage. You're coming in and, holding pressure on the, proverbial wounds and saying, we're here, we've got you. Your process is valid. We accept you, we see you. We invite you to see other people that are also in this space with you. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone.
Yeah.
That is so important. And it's inspiring to hear this. It's sad, right? It's heavy, but it's inspiring to hear that there's so much effort afterward, when most of us we don't see, or we forget, or honestly, we have our lives, we have our things we're also trying to do, and we don't know how to carry that thing or get involved. And so it is such a breath of fresh air to know that there are collections of people out there who are doing that work.
Let's think about Human Rights Day, right?
Right.
People forget that human rights is every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Providing dignity to somebody every day is giving back, right?
Yeah.
That's giving back. We never know who we're impacting or touching by just being kind. Mm-hmm. Right? By taking some of our own biases and even our own emotions in life, right? Mm-hmm. Or feelings about certain people or certain things, but taking that and pushing it to the back and just saying, you know what, I'm gonna just be kind, right? To people in need, to people who some of those needs are not just financial. Some of those needs are like, do you want to go on a walk with me today? Would you like to get out the house?
Yes.
You know what? Here's a flower. Like, here's a kind note from a stranger that says you mean something to me, right? That says you're needed in this world.
You matter.
Imagine somebody getting that from somebody who knows nothing about what they're doing, to actually inspire them to keep going, right? One of the things I get so busy in this work, and I remember this mom calling me, and she needed so much help, and I couldn't help her, right? And so I sent her to this attorney who could help her. But I couldn't get in and grind like I did with a lot of other family members or families that she saw. And the one thing I said to her is, I said, don't give up. No matter how many no's you get, no matter who's there with you, or if no matter if you're standing by yourself, don't give up, because you are your child's biggest advocate, most greatest resource, right? I said, whatever you do, don't give up. This mom called me like a month ago and said, I want to just thank you because you weren't able to step in because you were so busy. And I understood that. She said, but I'm thanking you because you told me to not give up. And every time I wanted to give up, I heard your voice. I didn't even know what to say to her, like, because I had no understanding until she called, like how powerful people's words are, right? I understood, don't let me say, I understood how powerful words are, but not my words. How about that? All I said was what, because I've had to fight my 11-year-old son's entire life because he has autism. And the school system has literally like been the hardest struggle, right? To get him services and supports, but we've been able to manage. Before that, it was regional center. And I had to fight. I had to learn how to write a brief. I had to learn how to, do an evidence packet. I'm not an attorney. I didn't go to law school, but I had to not give up. I remember being told my son was going to fail in life by a psychiatrist, that I called for help. And she said that I wouldn't be enough. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm his mama. I had to fight. I had to learn things I didn't know. I had to read things I never could understand, previously. I had to look through the dictionary and the thesaurus to make sure that I understood what those words meant, because I refused to give up. We want to talk about human rights. Human rights is right here. Let's talk about the neighborhoods that people don't go into, the things that they don't talk about, that are happening right in front of them. Because the same rights that people have on another side of a freeway are not the same rights that people have on the other side. And so let's talk about human rights in a real sense related to San Diego as a city and a county, because people see different things. People are not getting the human dignity and respect in the city and county that we live in. And it's not fair, it's not right, but it's happening. And it's happening every day. It's happening every day. I just came from a courtroom where a police officer has committed crimes, but his name is nowhere on the docket for the day because he's a police officer. But any community member who's committed a crime, you see their name on the docket. These special privileges that are provided to people because of their status, it's discrimination, it's exclusion, in a practice that has continued, to be designed that way for people from different colors, different economic statuses, different genders. And so let's start with San Diego, and let's talk about, things that we can do that's positive and things that we need to delve into to say, hey, maybe we need to fix, and how can we do that? Equity and equality sounds so much better than racism. Oh my God, don't say R. Don't say the R word.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh. Everybody just becomes a little clam. Just
everybody, the whole room gets silent.
Like, well, oh my goodness.
Because I might say something. And it's, I was in a room and it was a circle. We were doing a circle, and I remember a guy saying he was afraid to like talk because he didn't know if what he was gonna say would be racist, right? And he didn't want to be pegged a racist. And when he left that room, we were all hugging, because what he learned is like there's a way to ask questions versus a way to make a statement, right? And so if you're not sure, then ask the question. So then when you make the statement, you'll know, right? So, and it was like right on, and then there were people from different races that were like saying, hey, are you going to be offended if we say this? Because how does that make you feel? And understanding those things start with you. One of the things that we talk about when we do sessions with folks, and we're talking about inequalities, right, and racism, advancing, human rights and dignity. We often talk about start with you, Human Rights Day. We can start having those tough conversations about what is racism and how has racism impacted real experiences of equality and equity. And how are we advancing human rights if we're leaving folks behind? If women are still in a workplace and they're told to be silent after they've been touched, after they've been talked to in a sexual harassing manner, after they've been raped, where are we? If women who I want, men are very valuable, but the world has come through women. Now, we needed men for that to happen, but if we didn't push, none of y'all would be here. So women are extremely valuable because we birthed nations, right? And then we helped run them, right? Because even when it was a man's world, so to speak, it was women who made sure the men were good to go run the world. And now it is women who are moving up, running the world, opening businesses, expanding across the world, right? Bringing in employees. Women are nurturers and providers and protectors as well, right? But we continue to allow them to get damaged, right? And so we're saying, when do we stop that? When do we say enough? That women are just as responsible and just as prepared and just as inspiring as men, right? That women can run businesses and flourish and give back and support, right? Economics and all these other industries that women have branched into that were never really meant for them, right? But we knocked those doors down, walked in, and boom. Right? That's me. You'll hear more about exhaling injustice, and we got a lot of good help from a lot of people at Hera Hub. So I just want to say thank you. My experience at Hera Hub is light compared to what I do in the world. So this is like, I get to come somewhere and just like be, right? Thank you to Karen, who brought me here and introduced me to people I would have never met, right? If she hadn't. And it's been amazing, from the folks who are on the calendars that are giving back their time free, to people who are brand new entrepreneurs like Kelly with bookkeeping and all the other folks. We got IT gurus, and this is just amazing. This is like, it's kind of like the Hera Hub United Nations.
I like
heard you guys got a racial justice group. So I'm whoa.
We do. I wanted to mention that to you and ask if you wanted to join us sometime.
Yes,
and we can maybe even see, do you have suggestions on how we can, maybe we can shift it, make some structural changes. How can we make more impact or increase education around it? So our affinity group, it's racial and social justice sub-hub.
Okay.
It was previously called Co-Conspirators. We shifted the name. Yeah.
Oh.
And it came out of a very specific event, and it's kind of morphed a bit. And so we're at that space where we want to check in again and say, what is this? What is the work we want to do here? And we're meeting in January. So we'd love to have you join us. I'll let you know when our meeting is, and
Please, I'll be there.
want you to be part of that conversation.
I'm excited. I'm like super excited because like it's so positive. I mean, I'm new, so it's so positive. Like, and I come from like dingy, like in the dirt type grinding, right? So there's oftentimes there's moments of, you know, love and camaraderie, but I mean, we like in a war, kind of, to fight for justice, right? But it feels good to be able to come to something and, you know, just be able to be, to have a need and be like, oh yeah, we got somebody. And it's just like that, you know.
It's important for you to voice that ask or that need, right? Because then that can be.
World was like that. Like, I mean, I think if Hera Hub could be a system in the world, I've had a good experience. So I'm just like, hey, you know, and I get to see, and I see the United Nations, right? I see Black women in business. I met a man that was here doing some work. Like, I see white women and white men, and I see Latino, and I'm sure there's other racial dynamics that are here, but it just feels so good to like, hi, I'll be like, oh, hey, you know, this is what the world should be. I mean, you come to a place and the environment is like healthy, because it's about, you know, maybe, you know, here it's just about business, but imagine if the world could do, you know, hubs that was, you know, about inspiring and, you know, creating pathways that, you know, help people thrive. All right, y'all gonna make me cry.
I have held back numerous times during this conversation.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, okay. Because if I start, it's real hard to stop. So.
Oh yeah, that's how I am. Or when I get mad or I get upset, I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm crying. But it's okay to cry.
Yeah, it is very okay to cry.
It is very okay to cry.
It is necessary.
Yes, crying cleanses. It cleanses. So that's what we know.
Yeah.
So
thank you so much.